Hey y'all. It looks like I'm by myself right now, but we are here. We're gonna talk about empowerment through holistic wellness. Um, and hopefully my guests will pop on so we can see everybody. We have Lee, and then we have Miss Michelle, and we have Ariel. How's everybody doing today?
Doing good.
Doing good.
Good.
To see how it is.
Well, I chose today's topic, empowerment through holistic wellness, is because sometimes I believe people think that holistic wellness always has to be like in a pharmaceutical way. It could be through meditation, breathing, it could be through reading, writing, art, or it could be something of, an interest that something that helps you cope mentally. So I wanted to start off by asking my first question. And my first question is when you hear the term holistic health, what does it mean to you as a queen, balancing your mind, body, and spirit? And I'll let Ariel go first.
Um, well, for me, I think of holistic as being anything that is kind of like non-traditional or not like Western medicine, like however we think of it. So for me, that's lots of things. That's chiropractic medicine, that's like acupuncture, meditation, yoga. Like I feel like any of those things, which we turn to that aren't just, getting a pill, going to a doctor, all of that kind of stuff can be considered holistic. I feel like sometimes even therapy, depending on how we approach it, um, can be holistic medicine. Um, and then, you know, for me, it helps that like, you know, I'm in my office now and I'm sitting in my desk chair and all of this stuff. And like for me, my job, my business is sometimes physically demanding. So that body piece is so important to have right. Because then I can't do my work and I can't be helping anybody if I can't even sit up straight or, walk across a room comfortably. Um, so yeah, and I do go to chiropractors. I do you know drink teas, which I think help. So like, kind of like herbal teas or things like that, like really kind of getting back to the roots, the nature of things. Is what I think of when I think of holistic medicine.
I like that because I'm a firm believer as a life coach and a body healing coach that your body is very important. And if you don't take the time to take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to achieve the goals you want to receive. And Miss Michelle,
Well, when I think of holistic health for me, I think of my whole self. It's not just, you can, your mind, your body, you talk about mind, body, and spirit. I do think that you can you can get a pill that does something, but I often try to think of what is the root of this, whatever it is that's bothering me. Um, Sometimes what I can find that, well, I'll take will be a herb or a supplement or something. Sometimes I know that it's just things that are going on in life that have sort of like built up, and I'll sort of think about this. Well, what's going on? And how do I address it? How do I take a step back sometimes? Sometimes you have to take a step back and see. And sometimes it's sort of like you can make yourself feel handicapped, like it's like, oh, and I can't do this and I can't do that. But I believe that I have a strong will, and that's part of it. So it's like, okay, well, how am I feeling today? And what's going on with me? How do I want to live in this body? Because it's the only one I got. And to my knowledge, it's just this one shot. So how do I want to make it feel the best? Physically, I try to stay active. Um, Mentally, I avoid stress. Sometimes I think and relax. How do I step back? Drink a lot of water. Um, I'm often, people are surprised. They say, "Well, what do you take?" I don't take much medicine. I have to be really, really sick before I take something, or even go to the doctor. And when I go to the doctor, um, I'm my own advocate, and and I go with a story to tell them, like, this is how I'm feeling, this is what this, and this is what impacts this. So I look at me as the whole package, and how do I make the whole package feel better, strong, and live my best life?
I love that, Miss Michelle, because I'm a firm believer that you should be your own advocate. And a lot of people don't do that because we're so used to letting other people tell us what to do, not realizing it's your body. You're the one that has to live through it. You've got to deal with the pain or whatever your issue may be. So you have to let them know how you feel. And I always tell people when I do life coach is you are the pilot of your own health, of your own health. Your doctor should be your co-pilot. Your doctor is there to help guide you into a place of where you want to be, not them tell you what to do. If that's not what you're comfortable with, that is not what should be happening, in my opinion. Lee,
Mhm.
what you got?
So, yeah, when we were going to talk about holistic health, I was like, okay, um, I don't, I haven't really like thought about it in like my own personal way. So it gave me a lot to think about. I think for me, I journal. That's one thing that I just picked up through therapy is journaling about things that I just can't quite get off my mind, or journal about things that really hurt my feelings or something that I need to talk to somebody else about. But for me, like, I play board games. I love board games. I love to have my friends over. I like to cook. I like for them to bring snacks. Everybody pitches in something. We sit around and we laugh and we talk about our week, and we just have a really good time with one another. And I think that laughter is like a really good form of medicine. I think that it can take any day and make it a lot different. So I don't think about it as a, oh, I need to eat this way, or oh, I need to exercise this way. I think more that it's like tending my mind and my spirit, because those are in turmoil more than my body is. I'm like Miss Michelle. I mean, I take um, a pill for my heart and a pill for my stomach, and that's it. I don't have to take, like, I don't have high blood pressure. I'm blessed with all of these things, but I think that being able to tend how my mental health works on a day to day basis is what helps me, and that's journaling. That's being around people who uplift me. That's talking to people who uplift me, and being in the places that I need to be. That nourishes me more.
That's a really good explanation. I love everybody's like personal opinions about holistic health, especially when it comes to doing things outside of, medications, or doing things that help you mentally. If you are doing things that help you mentally, that help boost those serotonin levels, like you said, being able to smile. So laughter boosts your serotonin levels, and in return boost your immune system. So you're going to be happy, you're going to be more active, you're going to be more, wound up to do things in society, because you have that holistic health with you that you personally created within yourself to help you thrive. I just love everybody's opinions and comments on this. So my next question, or should I? Oh, I gotta answer myself, don't I? Or did I already? So my question was, again, when you hear the term holistic health, what does it mean for you as a queen balancing mind, body, and spirit? For me, when I hear holistic health, I'm just like Miss Michelle. I hear whole. That means me as a whole. That means how do I benefit from my health being the best that it can be to get me where I need to be to elevate in life. So being able to carry my mental health, my worry about my emotional side, my physical side, and making sure that all that, my spiritual side, all that it all coincides and makes everything just work together, so I can just chill, calm, and relax my nervous system holistically to move and thrive for the community as well as myself and my children. As a queen, I feel like it just worrying about myself holistically, which is self-love for me, which is what I'm really big on, is something that it does literally empower me to be the best that I can be and help our youth and our young queens. So, my second question is, what are some natural or cultural practices you use to stay grounded and centered in your daily life? I can go ahead and answer this one first. Some of the things that I use, I definitely do meditation. Um, I do breathing exercises. I do art. I love music therapy. I play sound bowls. Another form of thing um, that I do is like it's Kundalini yoga, so it's more about movement. So, and it's things that we already do, we don't even realize we're doing. Just movement, dance, things like that. And of course, for me, I'm also natural and holistic, so I don't take pharmaceuticals. So I feel like it helps me stay grounded and calm with nature. And I'm always barefoot. Miss Michelle, you want to go first?
Well, I found out this one is interesting because I don't think I have any practices per se. Like, I get a deep tissue massage every other week because it feels good to me.
Mm,
It feels good to me, and I know that it releases things. I can tell that it releases things in my body that sometimes when I don't, I sort of feel it. And
mm,
sometimes I've even gone to sleep on it, but it's just something that I do for me. And so I try to walk every day because there's something about the sunshine on you that makes me feel good.
mhm,
But I like what Lee was saying. I think that it's good to laugh. Um, I know sometimes people don't appreciate my sense of humor, but I remember how I had someone said, like if they can't take a joke, f them, and sometimes you have to just be able to laugh.
mhm.
And so, I mean, I think that those things sort of help me stay grounded. Sometimes to not to see the beauty in things, to say something to someone, to lift them up, because in doing that, it reminds me, hey, I'm part of the world. And I think that that's it. I don't subscribe to anything like that. I sometimes I do breathing exercises. If I feel myself anxious, I'll breathe because I know sometimes that's what you need to do. You just need to breathe, but it's not out of any particular practice. When I meditate, I'm not chanting or anything like that. Sometimes I'll listen to something that I will. I have one or two things that I do listen to, and although I think that's just really it. Just sort of like walking through life and feeling good and doing things that make me feel good so I can radiate that feeling to others.
I love all of that. Ariel, you want to go
Sure.
next?
Cultural practices. I don't know that I have anything specific. I feel like, you know, for me, like religion and spirituality, I'm like a little bit of a raven or a magpie. Like I just kind of pick them, choose the pieces that have resonated with me over the years as I've come across them. Um, but I find a lot of like I guess for centering, for getting myself like right, um, being outside, like literally just taking the minute, like taking the time to enjoy every sunrise and sunset, um, even though they happen every single day, even though every single one of them is beautiful, but like appreciating each one for what it brings and how it's gonna like represent the day, when I can. Now, I'm a whole human person, so sometimes I wake up and I don't care how beautiful and like lilac the sky, I'm just like grump, grump, grump. But I do try, and in my best as my best self to really not take any of it for granted, and to really appreciate like the little things, to stop and smell the flowers, I guess is really what I do. Um, every day. And I find a lot of peace in being in nature. Um, so, that's a big one. Like I love to like hear water, to go sit in a park and like with the windows open. And this is why this is my favorite time of year. Um, it's that cozy, get in the right clothes, enjoy the outside without it being, harmful. um, and and I feel like this is the best part of the year. So that's what I do. I get outside. I touch grass.
Yes, I love all of that. It's beautiful because it's grounding. I love nature. I never even said that. Like I'm the type that will go outside. I walk trails like I in the dark and like I said, I stay barefoot and grounded in nature. It's just beautiful. So I loved everything in how you are absorbing life, like just absorbing the beauty of what you see and the beauty of what you feel. And it's just, I know it's got to be grounding and calming. It's got to be one of the best feelings. Lee.
For me, I think the best thing that works for me is routine. I'm being on the spectrum. It tends to, it's a very calming and relaxing thing for me, to have everything go the way that it always goes. So, I like to get up and take a shower. I like it's a brush my teeth while the shower starts warming, and doing these routine things that help ground me. Putting music on as loud as I can get it, and like bebopping to something that's going to make me really happy. That new K-pop Demon Hunter soundtrack is like on autoplay with me right now, so I'm going to be golden. Um, but I put it on repeat and just take a shower with it, dance in the shower, and sing off tune. And these are just little things that I think help me have a better day. um, I really hope that the night before wasn't riddled with a whole bunch of anxious dreams that make you wake up anxious, and you're like trying to get out of this anxiety. But that's how I ground myself down, is just making sure that those things that are routine for me, so that I continue that. It kind of helps push forward the next thing. And it takes chaos and it makes it like normal for me.
That's beautiful because overall, you're just speaking of the title, empowering yourself, holistically to be happy and whole of who you are as a person. And it makes you feel better. And as long as just making your heart smile, that's all that matters. So, my third question. My third question is, in a world that often asks women to give endlessly, how do you carve out intentional space for self care without guilt? Lee, I'll let you go first.
Oh, um, well, so this is something new that I've learned, this self care thing, because I'm really good at just giving all of my spoons to everyone else, and then not having spoons, and then having to mask to keep those, same energies that everybody wants. It's kind of like being a comedian and walking into a room and everybody goes, say something funny. And you constantly have to have that mask on that you have to say something funny. So, um, I've learned that it's not selfish to take time for myself. It's more like survival, right? Like finding a way to get your spoons back on your own without having a mask, and then trying to figure out, what my non-negotiables were, what my time limit was. So I had to, I really had to, and I want to say this. This has been in the past 6 months that I've done this. That I've intentionally said no to people, and I have with and feeling guilty for saying no, but knowing that I have to say no, because there it's not serving anyone for me to run out of oxygen and pass out on the floor and then have to drag me out of the airplane. So I
You can't break someone who's not afraid to eat.
right. And so I think that I just flipped the guilt to empowering myself to do things that I might feel is a little selfish, but in reality it benefits everyone because I now have more spoons.
I feel like it's very hard. I love that because I feel like a lot of people feel it's hard to learn self care, including myself. When you're like you said, you're already giving your spoons to everybody else. Like you just keep giving them away, but you never give them to yourself. And when you start running out of spoons for yourself and then you can't eat, then what are you supposed to do? Um, so, Miss Michelle,
Well, um, I make very clear boundaries. And I also think it's important to be okay with being alone, to appreciate solitude. Um, I intentionally will do that. I don't all, and although I can be happy in a crowd, I can be happy alone, and I don't feel like I'm missing anything. And I also know that I can opt to do that. If I'm invited to something and I go like, you know what, no, I am happy in myself. I think it gives yourself a power. I have had people say, because I have very clear boundaries and I express those boundaries to everyone. Like, I'm not going to do that. This is just not something that I do. This is where I'm comfortable. I'm clear about what my boundaries are. I've had people say like, well, you're pretty selfish that you don't do that. Um, you know, I I don't feel that way. I don't believe that it doesn't matter if it's a person or a place. I'm not going to pour into cups that don't mind leaving me empty. And so I set really clear boundaries. And I take care of Michelle first because you know what? I've only got me. And I can't be good to the rest of the world if I'm not taking care of me. So being okay with being alone and learning to enjoy solitude and setting clear boundaries and not only just setting them without guilt, Lee, without guilt, you know, setting those boundaries and being and making sure that people know what your boundaries are because people know me and they'll say, oh, they can tell you what I will and will not do because they know who I am. And so I have my space. If I say, hey, I'm cool being at home. I'm at home. I can be at home, spend the evening listening to music. I am somewhat polyamorous, which means that I can go anywhere from Pavarotti to Little Nas X. I mean, whatever's making me happy. I might be reading, I might be writing. I can be happy in my own little bubble or put on my dancing shoes and go out and have a ball. But setting those clear boundaries and knowing what's right for Michelle.
That is beautiful. I always love it when you speak, Miss Michelle, because boundaries is a form of self care.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people realize that when you set boundaries, it's for self. So it's self care.
Mm-hmm.
Ariel.
I could not agree more. I really, I say often that good fences make good neighbors, right? Like, and having good boundaries helps people show up for you better. But really, I think what I had to make peace with to let go of some of that guilt and some of like all of that pressure that like we put on ourselves was it's okay if everybody doesn't like you. Everybody doesn't like you. You're not for everybody. Um, and and in letting go of that, like it is freeing. And then when we think about like pouring into cups, I actually heard an analogy, like or a change of the normal analogy is you can't pour from an empty cup, but you can't pour from an empty kettle, right? And more than an empty cup, because when you upend an empty cup, nothing happens. But if you leave the kettle on when there's nothing in it, you could burn the whole house down. And I had actually suffered a really major burnout um, from a really toxic work environment. And it took me so long to recover from that, that if I had just stood up for myself and had healthy boundaries and, made sure that I was holding the line on work-life balance and self-care, that you can keep on keeping on and do more, have more impact and do more good because you don't have to like people think that, oh, if I run out of spoons and I'll just but you pull from your resources. Like we are not infinite. Like yes, and I agree. People do expect women to give endlessly, but we are not an infinite resource. And you put yourself in the negative, and then where are you at? Like where you don't have patience for your children or yourself. You don't have like capacity for more work or for making sure that you have taken care of your health needs. Like so many women tell me about like, oh my God, like when I finally could rest, all of my health problems came to the front. Like it's like, yeah, because your body finally felt like you were safe, like you were in panic mode for years. And now where are you at? And so I think it's really preventative care. is to be a little bit, and I'm going to put in air quotes selfish, because I do not think it is selfish to say, this is outside of my capacity. This is crossing my personal boundaries. This is going to put me in a deficit for the rest of my week. And I've clearly communicated to you that I need different things to be able to, accommodate this. Um, I think, and we are harming ourselves, and we always put ourselves less. So if we could just like put the mask on yourself first, grab the oxygen for you, and then help everyone else, because that's what keeps you in the game longer.
I love it. I love it. And when it comes to self care, so when it comes, sorry,
I'm
y'all, I'm
sorry.
choking. I don't know what happened. When it comes to self care, I'm a firm believer when people say self love isn't selfish. I'm like, yeah, it is. And they're like, how? I'm like, because I'm selfish with myself. Like, that's why self love is selfish to me. It's okay to be selfish with myself because, like you said, I've learned that I can't pull from places that I can't even, that I have no more resources. I love your analogy. So I'm not gonna burn my kettle up. And I've been to places where I've burnt my kettle up. I'm, how the bottom's black with the little char on the side. It like, and then and then you can wipe the smudge off a little bit and start over. No, I've been there, done that, and just learning. It's taking a really long time for me, but just learning that it's okay to be selfish with myself. I gotta go to sleep. Like, I gotta lay down. Like, I have to with my fibromyalgia and Crohn's disease. If I do not take care of myself, I will not be here for my children, myself. First of all, myself, because I always say self-love is selfish. So if I'm not here for myself, I can't be here for my children. I can't be here for the community. I can't be here for the people that I want to love on and help. It's a thing. I love that we are speaking on this. This is just beautiful because I love having these conversations. Number 4. So my question number 4, what rituals or routines have transformed your well-being and helped you reconnect with yourself? Lee, what you got?
Um, so I've started some things like I think it's funny that I have anxious attachment. So I started journaling about anxious attachment. And so a friend of mine got me a book, and I go through the book, and every day there's like a new, like, um, workbook kind of thing to do. And in doing that, it's journaling about an inner child, how I felt about this, how I felt about that. And it allows me, I mean, like I've always talked about my trauma and stuff as a child as if it happened to somebody else. So people are like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry that happened," and I'm so detached from it that I'm like, "Oh, it's no big deal. I get therapy." You kind of just shrug it off, but it's a big deal because it still affects me in everyday life because I haven't actually dealt with what happened. I just kind of shoved it in a corner and said, "Well, that I'll get to that another day." Um, so the journaling part, being exposed to, hey, here's some journal prompts, or, you know, write down how that made you feel, like to yourself, not to me, not to anybody else. Being able to talk about my fears um, helps me a lot too. But being grateful to have a group of people around me that I can have those conversations with and not feel guilty about it. Like being able to just be like crying all day. Like every time my friend calls me, it's like I'm crying yet again. And it's like, I'm so sorry I'm crying again. But I want to cry now. And before this, I wasn't crying. I was keeping everything in. But now, it's like you don't have to mask around me. How freeing it was to be told that I didn't have to mask around someone, because I've spent my entire life being whoever everyone needed. And I'm 54 years old and learning who I am right now. And I think that having those anchors for me is the ritual and the routine that I need, that makes me wake up every day. It keeps me, like, I'm not on social media as much. I'm not throwing out like, my feelings constantly, or trying to get someone to validate who or what I am through these, faceless people that I made friends with on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or any of the others. So being able to reconnect with myself and knowing that I need to do that and showing up for myself, those are the routines that I've just recently started picking up. So yeah, I think that's the foundation for making a strong queen.
I love that. Like finding, and often people think sometimes that there's nothing they can do to find like a ritual or a routine for themselves. And it's like, it's just so small. Just find something that you like to do or that you're interested in. Like you were saying, journaling every day. So journaling is a repetitive, and mentally you're going to keep doing those things. That is self-care as well, because you're taking time to do something for yourself. I love it. Ariel, what you have?
So for me, I I like to make sure that I'm really intentional about spending time with the people who I love, who are always pouring into me. So like every single day I do something to make sure that I'm like staying connected to the people who are in my life, who, support me and love me. Whether it's going out for late night coffee, or waking up early so that we can have breakfast together, or even just a like hey, I didn't have to be awake, but I'm awake so that I could tell you to have a great day today. Just making sure that I'm doing those kind of small, and I mean, I feel like they're small, but significant in that it shows effort. Um, it shows intentionality. It shows like, hey, I care about you at least as much as I care about myself, because I'm out here trying to do this thing to make sure that you're good, and I'm checking in with you. So that's the big one for me that helps me stay um really connected to myself, is to make sure that like, I've spent, and I mean, and when I went through some of my friend groups with like a hatchet to get rid of the people who, and we all know who what we're talking about, the ones who are really only for you when you're down, and not when you're on the rise and doing good. Um, so the people who are still around are worth keeping around and making sure that they're still good, and that if there's anything I can do, that they know that I'm there. So
That's beautiful, because pretty much from what I heard you say is you want to make sure that your routines are conducive to your lifestyle with your self-care issues, like to make sure that the people around you, so as long as you keep pouring into making sure you don't get, that burnt kettle, you know, you're still able to pour into the people that you love, that can keep you
Mhm.
grounded and happy. Miss Michelle.
Well, I'll tell you, I got a story for you.
Okay.
Okay. When I grew up, my grandmother was one of those, and she said, well, what comes up comes out. My grandmother, you don't know what was going to jump out of her mouth. And it was, what comes up comes out. And I knew words. I know the power of words. Words are really important to me. And having said that, we always, and in my family, it was that thing that if you said something and you wanted to hurt somebody, there was a way that you could say it with your words and hurt them. You know how to find the right words to find that. But then I worked for a place once, and they were practicing Buddhist. And at the first time we had a meeting, they came in with a lotus blossom, and they asked each of us, hold, you'd hold the lotus blossom, and you would think about things, like if it was something you wanted to apologize for or something that you had done. And at first, everybody sort of looked like, you guys are crazy. But then the monk gave us an example, and it was like something that she had felt. It was one monk, she had felt and she had said. And the person who she said, I want to apologize to you. And they went, oh, I didn't even think anything of it. But she said that, but she, in her heart of hearts, knew what her intent had been when she said those words. And so and it was a way of her not only atoning for them, but acknowledging that she may have done something that was hurtful. And after a few times of meetings with the lotus blossom, I started to get it. And now I find It might come up, but it doesn't necessarily come out. I tend to not argue because in the heat of a moment, you'll say something and it's hard to take words back. And I know that in the heat of the moment, if I say something, I'm going to go right for the jugular. So now I tend to take a step back and hold my imaginary lotus blossom and think of what is my intent. And I'm careful with my words. And, Buddhism talks about right livelihood. And I'm not a Buddhist, okay? I borrow from every religion. But part of right livelihood is how you're walking through life and how you're doing it. So when I do that and I try to think ahead, like, what is my intention from it? It doesn't mean that everything is all peachy keen and beautiful, but I think that what is my intention? If I'm going to tell you something that might be hard, what are the words I'm going to use? I'm more mindful with my words and with my actions. And it took me from what comes up, comes out environment to what comes up
Mm,
simmers, thought about, and then comes out in a way that's loving
love that.
and helpful.
I love that because that means when you start simmering, that's when you learn your own personal boundaries. So that's when within yourself for self care. That's when you learn to dial the heat back a little bit so it's not simmering so much. But in order
Mhm,
to learn to dial the heat back, you got to pay attention to how high the heat is. So
mhm.
I love that, Miss Michelle. And then you're able to put the lid back on, right? Once you get the
Yeah, and you
simmering
know
back
what?
down, you have to put the lid back on.
And you're able to take a moment and listen to what that person was saying instead of
Mm-hmm.
just reacting.
Mm-hmm.
You're listening, and you might learn something from it.
Mm-hmm.
You might learn something about yourself.
I love that. Like, I'm so loving these analogies. I've got the pot burning. I'm loving it. I've got the pot simmering. I'm gonna start using this when I speak. So if y'all hear me say it, y'all know where it came from. I love it.
Mhm.
And for me, I would say some rituals or routines that I do every day. Mine aren't something you would normally see. Mine are things within myself. Like I make sure that every day I exude love. Like when I wake up, I don't wake up mad. Like, what's the purpose? I ain't got time. Like how I
Like
set my
how
day is like how am I supposed to live life if I wake up mad every day? Like I don't got time for none of that. Like I don't got time to be wake up mad at somebody. That's ridiculous. My body gives me enough problems. I gotta make sure I eat before I leave. I gotta make sure I do certain things. Like they may be rituals, maybe within a certain sense to make sure that I have what I need for my body if that's considered a ritual or routine, but I wouldn't consider that holistically. But I do know I make sure that I am intentional with what I do, making sure I wake up happy, making sure that I'm loving on people, making sure that I'm always being mindful of somebody else's words or how they may feel. And not everything is meant and intended for me. So that's one thing and that I really do routinely every day to make sure that I tell myself not everything that someone says out of anger is not meant for me. That's the person that they are. And I let it roll off and depending on what's said, of course, because I'm still a person and I don't like disrespect. But yeah. So number 5. All right. So how do you define empowerment and what does stepping fully into power look like for you? Miss Michelle.
Okay. Well, empowerment, it's like it's an authority or a power that you have to do something. Um, and I know that some people, you have that ability to do it, and it would be easy to say, "Hey, I'm just going to listen to my music and read my books and say, forget about it." But I think that empowerment means that sometimes where you're supposed to give your voice, where you're supposed to give your presence, where you're supposed to do things by example to create change, you step out there and you do it. Not without expecting something necessarily in return. Sometimes just your very presence, being out there empowers others to rise up. And I think that it's something very sacred when you know that you have it, to use it properly, to think about how you're going to use it to, as the doctors say, to do no harm, but really to lift up society and to think beyond yourself. You know, I think of myself, but I also think of, I mean, when we talk about legacy, um, I'm empowered to do something about the legacy I'm going to leave behind. Sometimes just being the person that you say you are and walking your truth. That's You're empowered to make a change. And sometimes you're supposed to step out there and do it. Get over yourself, get over your fears, do it in spite of your fears, do it with your fears, but do it.
I love that. I love it. You got to push through regardless, though, right, Miss
Mhm.
Michelle? You got to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, is what it sounds like. And that's how I roll too. I love it. Lee?
I mean, I define empowerment as, every day I strive to make sure that the people around me feel empowered in what they're doing. So I think it's just claiming whatever it is that they want to do that day. So if you say to me, I need someone to hold me accountable for X, I feel like that's empowering. You just empowered yourself because you took a step forward to make sure somebody else knew you had to get X done. And by doing that, you don't want to have to rely on them to like call you up and go, "Hey, did you get done?" It's more like, "Hey, Lee knows that I'm going to do this, so I'm empowered to get this done." So I think it's being there to support, but letting people step into their truth when they're doing that. I'm not there to tell them what to do. I'm not there to browbeat them down or anything, but I'm there expressing my love and kindness and whatever it is that they need from me, that I'm there giving them that so that they can be empowered to do what they need to do. So for me, it's claiming what I need to do and then not being ashamed to look at somebody and say, "Hey, can you body double with me today? Because I'm having a hard time staying focused. But if you'll stay on the phone with me on video, then maybe I'll get it done." Or, "Hey, can you look over this chapter in my book? I think this part is kind of wonky." Whatever it is, it's me, finally using my voice to say, "Hey, I need X, and can you hold me accountable for it, or will you help me with this?" And then not feeling ashamed to do so. So it's not being loud for the sake of being loud for me. It's like being loud because I'm now authentic with myself to be loud.
I love that because authenticity is a thing. Like, I don't see the purpose of not being authentic. If you're not authentic, I'm confused. Ariel, what you
So yeah, for
got?
me, empowerment is really kind of something that you do for other people. Not that you couldn't like walk into your power, but so for me, like empowerment is about like, metaphorically how we straighten each other's crowns. Um, and then
Hmm.
literally how we allow other people, and for me the work is usually around women. Um, but to take up space, right? Like sometimes that's giving somebody permission, sometimes that's literally getting somebody into a room that they would not otherwise have access to. Sometimes it's being the first person of color, the first woman, or any of those things, like in a room, to judge, is this a safe space to invite other people? Is this going to be valuable to people? Like, is this an opportunity to be worth pursuing, or is this not a safe space and we should not be coming here? So for me, like, that's what it's about. It's not always loud. I agree with Lee on that one, that because sometimes it's quiet, right? Like, so I think about a story. When I was in college, I was like on student leadership, and there was a girl, I'm so quiet and shy, or I was at the time, and so introverted. And I did that because I wanted to kind of break out of my shell and force myself to be able to kind of like talk publicly, to take up space, to be an advocate for myself. And a girl had an accident like with her period, and I just was able to quietly like, hey, just a heads up, here's a jacket. Go handle your business, but nobody noticed, and I think you're good, and we got this, but just wanted you to catch it and just like keep it moving. Well, like years later, she told me how for me that was Tuesday, for her that was so impactful. And I feel like those are the kind of things I'm trying to do, like just the little things that we can do to protect people's dignity, to, you know, to tell them that, hey, whatever's happening with you is fine. Things happen to everybody every day, and this too shall pass, so that they can keep going on. For me, that's what empowerment is about, is a hand out or a hand up when somebody has fallen down, um, and so we can all lift together.
Can't hear you, Kanisha.
My bad. I forgot to hit the button. Here I go again, y'all. Well, I look at empowerment, and I was just talking too. I look at empowerment a little differently sometimes now, because I was at a art night that I go to here in my community, and I was speaking on self-love. We were having this beautiful conversation about self-love, and when we were speaking on it, and she was like, we were conversing, and I guess it wasn't necessarily that she didn't agree with self-love. It was more so some people don't see self-love the way that I do, and I can totally agree to disagree, right? So she said the word empowerment, and I was like, you know what? To empower, what I love to do is teach people self-love. I love people to learn how to love themselves, teach them how to love themselves. So empowerment is the same thing. I am putting the power into you. I am literally empowering you to do those things for yourself, which to me then goes back to me, which is self-love. But I make the other person feel comfortable within themselves by empowering them. So I see empowerment as a way of like helping others, well, even within myself as well. So giving myself the power to do the things that I wouldn't normally do or be comfortable doing, or knowing that I would be scared to do, or think that was going to hurt, so I'm not going to do it, kind of thing. Did I get you, Miss Michelle?
Yeah, you did me first,
I thought
or did you do me
I
first, or
forgot.
did you do me second? Who'd you do? Who was it, Lee or me?
I
I think
can't
it was
remember,
me,
y'all.
then Lee.
I don't even remember. I ain't gonna sit here and lie to you. Um, but thank you, all three of you. So we're gonna go to question number 6. What advice would you share with another queen who is struggling to find her voice or embrace her worth? Ariel, I want to hear what you got to say.
Really, I feel like that one, I would first try and like kind of do a little bit of an inventory. What are we trying to say and why? Is the struggle maybe that these are not, like, this is not your message? Because I feel like sometimes we do get caught up in, this is what I'm supposed to do, as opposed to what I feel called to do, in your heart and in your spirit. So I would just like, let's just do a quick check-in. Is this really gonna feed you? Is this really where your motivation is, like, are we coming from the place of like the core of you that's gonna get up, you know, in the middle of the night to do the thing when nobody else is, like, when there's no accountability except for your own. Um, and then the self-worth, really look at it logically. Like, look at all the impact that women make every day. The kind words we share with each other, like how we take care of our families, the impact that those families could possibly have, like all of that, like just, whatever that looks like. I've never met a woman who wasn't extraordinary in some way. And I don't imagine ever doing so in the future. Like, I'm always in awe of our ability to be resourceful, to pivot, to, take licks and keep on moving. I mean, I wish that we didn't have to do quite so much of that, but it's always amazing to me how we can do. So I would say, here's some outside perspective on how amazing you are, and I hope you can hear it from me. But let's look at some real logical things, like look at your family, look at your business, look at your job, look at your impact, and then show you your worth and hold up the mirror.
I love that because as a life coach and mentoring my youth, I do the same thing. Like when I see that they can't or they don't, when I see that they don't see their worth, it's more so like you said, you start asking questions. You start asking why. Like, why don't you see this way about, why don't you think this way about yourself? What's missing? What don't you like? What's wrong? Like, you don't like your hair color? Like sometimes when I'm mentoring little girls, be like, oh, like, what's wrong? I don't like my hair. Why don't you like your hair? They don't know. Okay, so why we mad?
Hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
right now that's when that's easy to fix. That's the
yeah.
easy fix. Like, why we mad? Like, that's a good one. Like, I'm like you. Let's dig deep. Why?
Mhm.
Okay, there's no reason to be
Yep.
mad then, right?
And is it coming
And they're
from
like,
outside or is it coming
no,
from inside? Right? Like, isn't that always the question?
right,
Like,
right. Yeah, like, where's this coming from? Why are we doing this? Why do we feel this way? And then I like pointed out to him. So I'm like, you don't care that nobody else cares about your hair, right? And they're like, no. So what we mad for? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't care about them. So why are you mad? Then sometimes I think too, when I'm helping to help youth evolve into self-care and self-love, it's like, so if you really don't care what nobody else thinks, right, I'm just making sure they're not the type to be a follower or something like that, or worry about what their peers think. So then when I ask them if they care about their hair, and they're like, I like my hair, and I'm like, okay,
mhm,
you know what I mean? Okay, so what's the problem? Like, I'm trying to figure out, okay, let's scratch this off the list. Check. What's next? Why are you mad
mhm.
today? You know, no, it was all your hair, nothing else. Okay, so we good, right? Like, I love empowering the youth, but that's literally how I talk to them. It's so funny. Miss Michelle.
Oh, okay. Now, because it's just us girls, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something that you might not know.
Okay.
I am flawed. I am flawed, and sometimes I think that it's okay to share that. I don't want. I mean, some because you'll have people who will look at you because oh, we saw you on Queens. You're doing this. Oh, Kanisha, you're running for, and they want to put you up here, and it's like I could never do that. Sometimes it's okay to share that you're flawed. Sometimes I let them know I have fallen down. And sometimes it's the same way that, but it's about that getting back up. So I think that sometimes when I talk to someone, I first of all let them know, first of all, take me off the pedestal. Think of me as your sister, your auntie, your whatever. I've fallen. You're going to fall, but you can get back up. And then let's talk about you because you've already done this. And then after I get them to where they see me as, we're just talking and they can look and see what they've done. And how do we do this? I said, I could never speak. I said, you came up here and talked to me. You didn't know me from Adam, and you came up here and talked to me. You don't think that took courage? Well, yeah. Well, why? What made you have that courage to do that? Because I wanted to. Well, what else do you want to do? So, sometimes it means when I meet someone who's struggling, it means to make sure that they see that I'm just like them. I'm flawed. Although if they tell anybody, I'll have to kill them. I mean, I am perfect. Now I am, but I am imperfect in my perfection, and they are too. You're perfectly imperfect, just as you are,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got some strengths there. And usually, once I come down and I explain to them, I fell, I got back up. You've got the same thing in you, and they're able to see that. That makes a difference. Sometimes I think that's the biggest thing that often don't get caught up in your so much in your ego that you can't see where somebody else is coming from and help them recognize that they've got the same strengths, maybe even more than what I had. Like at church, I could never do that. Look at what you've done, you know, or I can't do that now, but you've inspired me. And that's what I tried what you do. If you find somebody who's struggling, lift them up. Lift them up, even if it means that you have to show that maybe you've got a little scuff here and a scar there.
I just love it. I love it, Miss Michelle. This like everything. It's beautiful to be able to hear. Like I love different perspectives of life and people on self care. It's just a just humbling experience. Lee.
So the advice I think I would give is start where you are. You don't have to start where somebody else is. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Whispers can turn into echoes. So if you ever in like you're standing in like a field and you go echo and then you hear echo, 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 echo. It doesn't always have to be that loud. So you can start with a whisper. Surround yourself with people who are worthy of you. So that's a big key thing. There's going to be lots of people who are going to want to be around you, but make sure they're worthy of being around you. And then make sure that they see you, not a version of you that they want or a version of you that you think they want. Make sure that they see you and that they remind you that they see you. And then your voice isn't waiting for permission, it's waiting for you to speak.
I am loving you and Miss Michelle with the and everybody. It's just the authenticity piece of it and being authentic and teaching other queens, whether young or older, whether young or older, just the authenticity piece is really, really heavy because if you're not authentic with yourself, then you're never going to find who you truly want to be. And you're always going to be lost. And I feel like sometimes that's where our anxiety comes from because we don't know where we want to go because we're not, some people just aren't authentic. Like it's just not in them to be, or they're confused, or they've not been taught or told to empower themselves or had someone to have their back to pour into their cup. So they don't know how to even they don't even know what to do because their cup's still dry because no one's poured into them. Um, I just love everything about this conversation tonight. It is awesome and amazing. So the number 7 I have, this will be one more question after this. Um, what does self-love look like in action, not just as a concept, but in the way you treat yourself daily? I'll go first and I'll say I am one of my biggest things that is just embedded in me when it comes for me being rooted within myself with self-love is I really have a I don't care. Like I love you to pieces. Like I will give you this shirt off my back. I will help feed you. I will come help you do whatever needs to be done if I am capable. I will be there for you, but I really just don't be caring. Like I can't let stuff stress me out. Like self love for me means me. I'm not going to let you change my day. As a life coach, as I say when I mentor, I always tell my children, because then they be mad, because we know kids like to fight, right? We know it's their way of trying to see who's top dog and who's winning and who got, the videos and all this kind of stuff. And I'm always like, don't you like to win? And they'll go, yeah. And I'm like, if you argue with so and so, if you get fighting with so and so, you lost, right? And they go, how? I go, weren't you happy before you got fighting? Weren't you like happy go lucky? You and your homegirls was chilling. You and your homeboy was chilling. Y'all was playing basketball. But now you let somebody make you mad. They're like, what? I was like, you got mad, right? And I'll be like, yeah. I'll be like, who let them let you get mad? And they're like, I'm like, they did. You allowed them to make you mad. So they won. Now you lost. So one thing that I like truly do to make sure that I do for myself self-love daily is to make sure that I know that I come first, point blank period. And I wake up on this. I just it's just embedded in me. I don't care. And I make sure that I exude that with love every single day to spread love. Self-care is very important to me. So spreading that throughout and teaching our youth that they need to love themselves in the smallest ways is one way of self-love for me because I always feel like if I can change one kid that I've literally changed two. So that's another reason, another way that I love self-love, even with my own children. So Lee, you
Ah,
first.
self love in action. I think it's showing up for myself, setting boundaries that I'm not really good at, but I'm doing better at. Honoring my rest. Like I rest now when I need to, and I say I need to rest. I celebrate my wins because it's like a big thing. I never did before. I never was like, oh my God, I did that. But like, oh my God, I did that. Right? Like it's it's okay to be okay with you doing well, right? I was put down so much as a kid that I have such a hard time just like patting myself on the back for accomplishing something. And it can be just as easy as I wake up some mornings where I'm like completely over anxious. Like I had all these anxiety dreams all night long, and then I wake up and I'm anxious, and it's like getting out of the bed, just taking my feet and throwing them off to the side of the bed so that I can slide my feet hit the floor. That's like a huge accomplishment for me when I'm in my own mind and I can't escape it. Sometimes my mind hates me more than I hate my mind. And so I have to be okay with celebrating those wins, and I don't feel guilty about it anymore. I don't. I feel very happy to celebrate when I do something, even the small things. I forgive myself for falling back into bad habits because, there's 54 years of habits, and so I have to forgive myself for when I can't be, myself, or if somebody goes, hey, did you have to mask to do that? And I really hate that I'm having to mask to do it. So I forgive myself for it, and then um, I think figuring out how to define my worth for myself versus allowing other people to define my worth has been a big thing for me too. So self love is the actions that I take for myself every day, and not just the words that I say to myself. So actions speak louder than the words that go on in my head. So I think that's the action I do.
Yeah, I love the actions. It's I'm just loving all this self-care stuff. It's just beautiful to me to listen to how people treat themselves, how people love on themselves, how people view themselves, what they feel or deem important to themselves and how they cope. This is just beautiful. Did I get everybody or was it Michelle?
Nope, not
You
me.
didn't get Ariel. No, you started with Lee, but you need to talk to Ariel and then me on this one.
Right. Yeah, Ariel.
So for me, for self, what I how self love shows up for me every day is I check in, and I look at my capacity, right? Like, what is my day? What does my scheduled day look like? What else am I going to fit in there? Who else am I going to allow to come and take of my energy? All of that, kind of thing. And so I check in with myself so that like I'm making sure that there is something in the kettle before I'm starting to like dole it out to everybody else. And yeah, I guess I preemptively forgive myself. I give myself permission to not exceed my capacity under any circumstances. So if I go to a networking event in the morning that ends up using up more of my resources than I expect it to, um, then I give myself permission to either leave early or to take it easy for the rest of the day. Like, and I refuse to feel guilty for any of that. Like if like I said, like I'm not going to get to that burnout place again as soon as I feel like myself approaching um like emptiness, I stop. And I let that be enough and I let that be okay. Um but I think it does take practice to know where your capacity at, to like to know what you're capable of doing before you get to that. Like, I mean, I think most people understand they're like, "Ooh, I'm out. I'm done." They know with that feeling, but like it's hard to know, "Ooh, I'm close to being out." And I'm gonna lose like some of my patience. Like, that's when people are like, "Are you hangry? What's happening?" You know, but to start to be able to like know yourself enough to feel it out and to not go too far or too into your deficits. I mean, sometimes you have to, but like to be aware that that's happening so that you can then refresh in ways that are more intensive than just like your everyday routines. So that's what I do. I make sure I'm not doing too much, I guess, is the gist of it.
Very intentional. Everything is very intentional. So being intentional about knowing what your body deserves because those are the boundaries, as Miss Michelle, we have gotten. Those are the boundaries we set within ourselves as well. We can set boundaries within ourselves and not just people, to give ourselves self care so we can take those times to benefit from what best serves us. Miss Michelle.
Well, I'll tell you. When I wake up in the morning, I go and I look in that mirror, and you know what? Sometimes I'll say, girl, you need to comb that hair. I do something so that I feel like me. Even if I'm just going to walk around here with my cat, sometimes I'll be dressed up because that's how I feel. I do that. Um, I have a time, like on Sunday morning, I like to herkle jerkle and listen to NPR, and I'm going to do that. Or if I feel like getting up, I get up and do it. I try to pace myself. When I'm tired, I'm not going to take on something else more than what I need to. I'm going to say, hey, no. And I've had days, I usually don't take that, but I've had a day when I've been pushing, pushing, pushing. I said, you know what? I'm tired. And I'll go and get in bed. I love my bed. I don't, what the days lead that I don't get out of bed, it's because I'm just feeling so good. I'm just, I love my bed. I surround myself with things that keep me in that place, that make me happy. You see, I read people and they say, like, I'm looking for somebody to do this and that. Because I do that for me. I do that for me because Michelle has to be happy. Michelle has to feel good. Michelle has to be happy. Michelle has to feel productive. Michelle has to feel creative. I do those for me. Now, if you enhance that, that's cool. But if you're not going to take it away from me, you don't take anything away from me. Michelle takes care of that. And so, like that's what I said, when I listen to somebody say, "Oh, I wish I could find someone who could complete me," I say, "I don't need anyone to complete me. I take care of me. I do this, and I feel good about it. And at the end of the day, when I go get back in my happy space, my bed, and I snuggle down real good, I generally tend to look back over the day, and there might be some things, and I think about how I could do that better. I think about what I have to do the next thing, but at the end of it, I go like, you know what? It was a damn good day. And I know that when the Klingon said it, it meant it was a good day to die. But I'll say it was a good day to be Michelle. And I get in bed and I go to sleep. I wake up the next day and say, good morning, sunshine, and start it over again.
It's always a good day. I say it time and time again. It's always a good day to be yourself. You should not be someone you are not
Mhm.
ever. Like being someone you're not causes the anxiety within you because you're confused. It's not who you truly are. So it's just beautiful. I'm like I love this conversation. I was talking to my son a while ago, so I was off track earlier. Mom first sometimes. Okay, so our very last question. If you could leave one message of love and healing to the next generation of queens, what would it be, Miss Michelle?
It's something that's like, everybody's not going to love you. Everybody's not going to like you. But if you love you and you like you, it's a better world. And you can't please everybody. Please yourself.
Okay, Lee.
Claim your full self. Love your voice, love your body, love your spirit, love your queerness, love your non queerness, love you. The world will do everything that it can to shape you and shrink you and silence you and mold you to be complacent. But know this, that if you're honoring yourself, the more you do that, the more you teach the next generation that their truth is valid and that their power is limitless and needed in this world.
Beautiful Ariel.
So I'm gonna say, don't set yourself on fire to keep other people warm.
Mm. Mm.
Because, and I think that's what is so often asked of us, is to, to keep the peace, to shrink yourself, to shave little pieces of your inconvenient pieces of yourself away. And I feel like that's kind of all the same thing. Do not make less of yourself. Do not sacrifice yourself for other people who would not do the same for you, certainly. But yeah, don't set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. If they can't figure it out, it'll be all right. You'll be all right. um, because I feel like that just kind of fits in with what everybody else said. Like you have to love yourself first. Nobody can do it quite like you until you can do it, until you can show them how. And I already said it. Everybody is not going to like you, and that's okay. Everybody is not for
That's
you.
okay.
Um, so
Right. And I'll go last. And I would say one thing that I would leave for love. Um, it's a couple of different phrases and a way to put it. I have a couple things. I'm a firm believer that love is a frequency, not an emotion. So if we can all ride that frequency of love, just learn to love yourself for who you are as a person. Love the people around you for who they are as people. You can keep that stress level down. And plus, you're not worried about someone else. You're worried about yourself. My other quote is, there is no you without you. And that last you is in all caps. You cannot do anything if you are not available and have the capacity to keep up with what you can do without setting the boundaries that need to be set so you don't catch that pot on fire. You know, just make sure you stay grounded within yourself. Make sure that you are emotionally available when it comes to you, especially when you get to that point, because we're not all there. But when you feel that you get to that point, take some time to yourself. It's okay. Like, it is okay. Like, you're not going to be able to continue to get where you need to be or climb that ladder that you want to climb. You're not going to heal the way you want to heal. You're not going to calm your nerves the way you want to calm them. You're still going to be mad. Just learn to just let it go. Be you, live with life, and take everything as a lesson. Don't be mad about everything. And ladies, that was our very last question. I greatly appreciate all of your answers. What I am hoping is that whoever is listening or rewatches this can take something from every single one of us to be able to look at themselves in a different light, whether it be from my perspective, Ariel's perspective, Lee's perspective, Miss Michelle's perspective, whichever perspective that you vibe with, you'll vibe with. But every single thing that we talked about was empowering yourself through holistic wellness, which was literally encouraging others to love themselves without without the accountability of others, with the accountability of yourself. I appreciate every single one of your answers. Like, I so love this. I cannot wait for others to hear this because there was so many empowering messages. Thank you, everybody. I don't know what I'm supposed to do else, what else I'm supposed to do, but yeah,
yeah, it's always such a
thank
great
you.
time having conversations with you guys. So
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
It is.
I think
It
that one
is.
of the things is that I hope that other people take from it, which is like reclaim the word selfish and not, get rid of that negative thing, because I think that everybody has talked
Mm,
about where they were about themselves, but it's not. But we've always been, oh, you can't be selfish. If you're selfish, if you think about you, you're a bad person or anything. But I think that we've all reclaimed
because
that and
yeah,
put it
because
in
they only
different.
ever say that to women. They never say that to men.
Mm-mm, mm-mm, nah, exactly. Yeah.
So I can't. People are like, oh, can you keep the peace? I don't believe in that. I'm sorry. I do not. I cannot.
You know,
Why do I got to be the only one that has to
Right?
keep
What
the
about my peace?
peace?
I'm keeping my peace.
Right, you came into my space. I was peaceful already, and then you want to come over here and be a little
I
assertive and
was
aggressive,
peaceful.
and now I
Okay.
look like the angry black woman because you came in my space. If you never came over here, I would have been perfectly fine. I'm with you on that one, Ariel. You should just
I
leave me
think
yeah.
too
alone.
that you know you're being selfish, right? There's a difference in
Mhm,
self-love and being selfish. Selfish is
mhm.
that you're putting yourself above everyone else and you make it uncomfortable for those around you. If me saying, "Hey, I'm taking Saturday, I'm going to go away somewhere on my own, watch a movie, take myself to dinner, and then come back home and take a long hot bath." That's not selfish. That didn't hurt a damn soul. Now,
Mhm.
but if
Did
I
not.
said, I'm
It matters how they feel.
Right? If I say I'm going to take this week's grocery money to go take myself to the
Mm-hmm.
movie, go buy myself dinner, and everybody else can fend for themselves for food this week, now I'm a selfish bitch. But,
Well, you
taking
know
my
what?
own money that I saved and I took up for myself, no, leave me alone. You know what you're
I
doing.
think that
Right.
queens need to all say when someone says, oh, you're a selfish bitch, say, no, I'm a queen of self-care.
I love it.
Right.
I am the queen of
Yes.
self-care. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Of
Yeah,
course.
I mean, I feel like that's, you start to see it, and sometimes you start getting kind of almost too sensitive to it, like where misogyny is showing up, like, in unexpected places. And I think that self-care is one of them, because men do not struggle to take time away from their families to make sure that they are centered, whole, emotionally well regulated, none of the things like, and that is not, it is not a cultural expectation that they would not take whatever time they need away from their busy lives to go do the things. And this is I have made men. I, was married to one. I have lots of respect. I, related to quite a few of them who are worth a damn. But that doesn't mean I don't see the world we live in and understand that, like, and try to teach my sons especially, like, hey, this is the world we're in and here's the privilege that you have. And so if given an opportunity, please make sure that you're using that privilege for good, to help other people, and that you're not abusing the idea of your maleness as a way to, and that you're aware of it and what it can do. Um, I have a son who is tall and grown man shaped, even though in here he's still like a little kid. And I've had to explain to him, hey, you get huffy, you're giving grown man vibes. I'm going to need you to take it from like here way down, because, you know, it's not always what it is. Sometimes it's what it looks like. And you need to always be aware of that. And I think that's the thing, right? Like, no one is telling men, oh, don't take the time you need to like reset. Like, I remember even in high school coming home, and the expectation was that I was also going to care for my younger brother, to get him snacks or make sure he was doing his homework. And I don't know if that's that first daughter, oldest daughter thing, or if, I mean, that's that girl thing, right? Because I don't know that if he were the oldest, that the expectation would have been that he would have to take care of me in the same way. So
Mm. Mhm.
Yeah. I'm aware of raising black sons as well. I am a mother who teaches them that it is okay to, use your emotions. It is okay to walk away when need be. It is okay to say, I don't feel like it. It is okay to not go with your friends if everybody's over there and you just don't feel like it. It's okay. Like, you don't have to be involved. Like, when it comes to men, and from what I have seen, like you said, like birthing, making them, birthing them and being around them and being married to one, formally married to one, like it's one of those things. And it's like, okay, like I feel like sometimes men aren't having, different people in your life. You feel like men aren't conditioned to do those things. And I'm grateful that I am around people that I can say now that I've seen some men be aware of their emotions, and that's good. Because for me, if they're aware of their emotions, which means they can be more aware of ours. Like, I'm a firm believer, and like if like I'm tell like I tell my boys, if your emotions are intact, you can't be around other people, male or female or whatever they are, that how you think your energy gonna come off? Like, your energy gonna come off a little jacked up if your emotions is all over the place. People feel that. Like, it's a connection. You can't come in a room all jacked up with your emotions out of place. I'm not saying you're not allowed to have emotions, but figure out what's going on before you walk into this room and give everybody these negative vibes. And now you look like the angry black man. We don't got time for that, because now you're messing up other females' attitudes. She could be on her period all day. She could be on her menstrual. Ain't nobody got time for you to come in here with a whole attitude. Now you mad at her because she got an attitude with you. You the one came in here all amped up. Calm down. Help her with hers, because she's got to stay regulated. You know how it is when you had a menstrual. Like, I just love this whole
Well,
conversation. It's so
well,
beautiful. Just loving and
it was
empowering.
funny how when you brought it back to it, but when I'm thinking about when we started talking and when you talked about holistic health,
Mm-hmm,
thinking
mm-hmm,
about your health from a holistic point of view is something it's really important to
mm-hmm.
women, but it's also important for men that they have to recognize that it's more than just, at a certain age you're going to need Viagra. Okay, I mean that I know men who have come up
Gosh,
with
good.
prostate cancer because they never went. I'm strong. I'm tough. I'm going to do that. And the only time they cared about it was they had performance anxiety. Then they go run to the doctor. It holistic health, thinking about balancing your mind, body, and your spirit is something that we all need to do because so many people are hyped up on drugs and not in touch with the rest of it. I think that's a big part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's just as important too, to sort of say to everyone, you know what? Have you touched base with your heart? Not, is it beating right?
Mm-hmm.
But have you touched base with your heart? Have you touched base with your spirit?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? Are you just like, work, 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 work? And we all do that and fall apart. So I think that when you go back to where we started out with, holistic, looking at our health holistically is also a key to creating change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love it. And this weekend I was at like a mini symposium, and a lot of people, we hear gentle parenting. I mean, I've always, always, always been a conscious parent. Like I do conscious parenting, and I learned more about conscious discipline this weekend as well. And learning about conscious discipline just made me realize that our society needs more conscious discipline within our adults, not just our children. We need to learn how to be more conscious and mindful of ourselves so we can build a better society for everyone as a whole. If we're conscious and mindful of what we're doing and how we're empowering each other through holistic wellness within yourself, empowering yourself. But I appreciate you ladies so much for the conversation.
Well, thank you so much
It
for
is
for guiding us and making such great questions, which spark such good conversations.
Who's up next?
Who is next? I don't know.
I think I am.
Are we?
Tamia and I had
You're
switched
next.
at one point in time. So hold on, hold
Oh,
on
okay.
to your sandals and your mug, Lee.
Oh,
Hold on to your mug.
oh Lord. What we gotta see what we're gonna be talking about.
I might,
I can't wait to see it.
Are you sick, Lee? Lee, I got your phone number. I'll call in. I'll call you. You'll pick up and it will go, yeah, Lee, I thought you were sick.
I'm good. I'm good. I'll make sure I have the chicken noodle soup. I'll be fine.
Okay. That's what I'm looking for. Mm-hmm.
Well,
I think we're done then.
have a great
ladies.
night.
How do we get off of here? I don't know how to do it, but I guess we
I
just hit
think so.
leave.
Um,
All right. See you.